person in the news, and let me tell you how he manifested doing something right. And most really loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so what's the date today? Okay, you could tell me it's the 18th of April. I need to know the Islamic date. Do you know what it is? Yep, the 24th of Sha'ban. We've got less than a week to this awesome month that we've been waiting for. Okay, before we do that, just as we do every time at workshop, what are the times of Salah today? Do you remember? If you don't know them, look them up. Maybe on your phones, maybe on the calendars. Tell me what the time of Salah is. I'll give you a moment. And I mean a moment. Okay, Fajr today actually went to 3, so it's 3:59, just before 4 o'clock. Okay, what time are we going to pray Zohar? 1:07. What about Asr? 4:45. Okay, what about Maghrib? Now you will, next week when I ask you about Maghrib, you will know it to the second. 8:14, and Isha is 9:20. And remember, it is so much more important to know these times in the month of Ramadan. If you've been following me at 11:30, you know that the Prophet in his sermon said that at the times of Salah, raise your hands in dua. Allah looks upon us with more kindness, like lots of pixie dust, lots and lots of kindness. So remember these times, write them down, especially in preparation for next week. Okay. So what we're going to do today is look at how do we prepare for the month of Ramadan? What do we do in the month of Ramadan? And in essence, we're going to do the 5 things that we learn at workshop. So we'll try and put those together, and let's see how we get there. So the first thing we do at workshop, when you finish assembly, you go to learn to recite Quran. So the first thing we learn at workshop is the Quran, to be able to recite it. And your second lesson is how to understand it through Quran City. So that's the first thing you do. And the month of Ramadan is about the Quran. The reason why it's such an awesome month is because the Quran was revealed in that month. So the first thing you will do is Quran. That's the first thing you learn at workshop. The second thing we learn at workshop is how do you connect with Allah? You have to connect to Him because He talks to us through the Quran. We need to talk to Him through Salah and through Dua. So these are really important things. So the first thing we learn at workshop is Quran, and that's what you're going to do in Ramadan. Make sure your Qurans are ready. The second thing, Dua and Salah. And Salah is really, really important. We'll talk about it today at 11:30 again. But basically in the sermon of the Prophet, he said if you recite a wajib Salah in Ramadan, you get 70 times more brownie points. If you do a mustahab Salah, and we'll talk about that at 11:30 again, you get freedom, a certificate which tells you no fire for you, no Jahannam for you at all. And if you read loads of Salah, if you connect to Him a lot, then he says that on the day of Qiyamah, your weight of good deeds will be lots. Now why? Why? Because Salah, if you recite it properly and you understand it, then my goodness, it shows itself in your behaviors, which is the third thing we learn at workshop. The third thing is to be able to manifest, like show our connection with Allah. Okay, so how do we show it? How does it reflect in our behaviors? Do we change? How do we change? The fourth thing we learn is the concept of our beliefs. We believe in one God, we believe God sent messengers, and then there were imams, and we believe in the day of Qiyamah. We believe we're accountable, and that's what we learn as we get older. And finally, we learn about role models. Who do we follow? How do we know what to do? Who were the prophets? Who were the Masumin? Who were these awesome people? So that's basically what we're going to do in the month of Ramadan. But what's in the news? And that's connected as well. So obviously what's in the news is everything about the coronavirus, about COVID-19. And you've got to be careful. I've been saying this all the time. We've got to listen to what we've been told. Wash your hands. And I loved it when I saw the reception class come out with a little video which was telling their children, when you wash your hands, say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and I'll add a little bit no, wa idha maridtu fahuwa yashfin. Say that 3 times. That takes about 20 seconds. And that's how long you got to wash your hands. So wash your hands. Don't go out all this social distancing, really, really important. So there was a person in the news, and let me tell you how he manifested doing something right. And most of you must have heard about him. His name was Tom Moore, or his name is Tom Moore. He's 100 years old, and he raised £20 million just by walking up and down his garden. And that's not just for him, it's a big deal. He only wanted to raise £1,000, but his intention was clear. So maybe we could do that too. You've got your sadaqah boxes. You should have all have got them. They've been posted out to you. Maybe you will collect some money. And it's up to you. For those who are in need, all sorts of things you can do. But what do you do with this social distancing when you're at home? Like I said, you will pray Salah a lot. You will recite Quran. You will learn your du'as. More so, you will perfect your Salah. That means you will know what you're saying. But what else can you do? So it reminds me of a story that I was reading about Isaac Newton. Have you heard about him? So Isaac Newton, he was in his early 20s when in 1665 in London, there was this great plague, as you call it. So it was something like what we have now. There was a bacterial infection rather than a viral infection, but there was an infection. And he used to study in Cambridge at Trinity College. And they were all sent home. They weren't allowed to go to college. They had to go home. So he went home to a place called Woolsthorpe Manor. You can look it up on Google. And that's about 60 miles away from Cambridge. And he worked at the mathematical problems he used his time properly. In his bedroom, he made a few prisms. In fact, there was something that says that in the shutters of his window, he made a hole so that a little bit of light could come in. And from then we see the theory of optics. That's what he did. And then outside his window was the famous apple tree. Have you heard of that apple tree? When he sat under the apple tree and the apple fell on his head, he suddenly understood the theory of gravity, as we call it. And today, if you go to Woolsthorpe Manor, they've still got that apple tree there. But what I'm trying to say is that he used that time to think, to do something positive, not say, oh, woe be to me, I don't know what to do at home, I'm bored. And these are examples we need to take. When you're at home, maybe you can think through, what do you want to do? What is our life going to be about? What are you going to do with yourself? And make a timetable for the month of Ramadan. What are you going to eat? Make sure it's healthy, because that's what the Prophet said. How much Quran are you going to read? You know, there is a hadith which says that if you were to read 100 ayat of Quran, and it's not a lot, Surah Al-Fatiha is 7. So if you read that 10 times, for example, you already got 70 ayat. And if you read Surah Al-Asr 10 times, that's already another 30. So it says, if you read 100 ayat of the Quran, and this is from the Prophet, he says 100 ayat of Quran, and then 7 times you said, Ya Allah, you could move mountains. My goodness. So in Ramadan, after every Salah, let's try and read a little bit of Quran. Let's try and learn those du'as. And we've been doing them at the 11:30 classes. We will also continue doing them every day in Ramadan from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. We're going to have Quran and dua, and we're going to focus on Surah Al-Ankabut. So maybe you can join me. But do it at home after every Salah. Quran, dua, make your timetable. Look at all the things that you've done that you need to correct. Look at your responsibilities and learn the meaning of Salah. If you did nothing at all but learned what you're saying in Salah, my goodness, it will be the most awesome month of your life. Not even the awesome month of this year, but the awesome month of your life. Okay. What else is in the news? Can anybody tell me? Is there any football going on? Because normally at workshop, you tell me about football. No football? Do you play at home in the garden? What else is happening in the news? Can you tell me? Why don't you look it up? Okay. And maybe you could send me a message and tell me what's happening in the news. But I'd like to end today with the dua that we read. And many of you have asked me that you've forgotten what it means. So before we do li khamsatun, we're going to see what it means, right? So li khamsatun. Li is for me. Khamsa is 5. Wahid, ithnain, thalatha, arba, khamsa. So for me, there are 5. Utfi biha. Who put out, who blow out. What do they blow out? Blow out. Harra al-waba' al-hatima. Har is the fire, or har is the, if I can say, the infection that's caused. So they extinguish, they blow out the fire of the waba. Waba' al-hatima. Waba is like an infection. Waba is like a calamity, a difficult thing. Hatima means something that that will make me weak. And the 5 are Al-Mustafa. Mustafa is the title of the Prophet. Murtada is the title of Imam Ali. Wabnahuma, and their sons, and Fatima. So it's basically the M14, the 14 Masumi. So maybe you could recite it with me. Shall we recite it together? Before that, a Surah Al-Fatiha, and then as usual, we will do the ziyarah of Imam Hussein. So let's do Surah Al-Fatiha first. For all those who are ill, especially with this virus. I mean, when I looked at the numbers today or yesterday, there were over 14,000 people who have died. Let us pray for all of them as well. Let us pray for those who are in hospital, and pray for all those who are in trouble throughout the world. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Close your eyes and think about all the things I've said and all the people that we've got to pray for. لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المصطفى والمرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر لحظ مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Now normally at assembly, they tell you to go and read Quran or go to your Quran classes. In the same way, maybe you'll be able to read some Quran. If you can join me at 11:30 again, we will talk about preparation for the month of Ramadan. And in Ramadan, every day between 4 and 5. We won't have any more assemblies now until after the month of Ramadan. Look after yourself, stay safe, and make sure this Ramadan is really, really awesome. Please remember me in your du'as. You are all always in my du'as. في أمان الله كريم. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت